It's Angel Joseph here, and we are so excited to speak to so many amazing young people about their journeys and sharing their stories. And it is that part of the show where we hear from our young creative. They are Theo and Rebecca. They come together to be Headgazer. I absolutely love that name, by the way. Now, I've got them on the Zoom to chat a little bit about how they started, how they formed, where they got to, and their future. And they're going to stick around, do an album swap with us as well. Hello, are they there with us? They don't have their cameras on, so I'm not sure. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing, Headgazer?
Great. We're, yeah.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the show. Rebecca, let's kickstart things with you. How did you get into music?
It's probably around midway through high school. Got into it because of the music course there, and I just picked up a guitar, and that's where it started.
Amazing. What kind of music were you listening to at that time?
That's when I started getting into rock music and stuff. So it was, especially when I learned guitar, I started getting more into rock music, and then it progressed from there.
Nice. So from school to college, you then liked music so much you went on to study music performance. What were your reasons behind that as well?
Because I don't know, I just had the urge to do it, and I know I could have went for a more kind of standard job and way of education, but I just kind of wanted to challenge myself and go out my comfort zone.
Nice. Let's get Theo in the chat. Theo, how did you first get into music?
Well, it starts really with my dad playing loads of different bands in our kitchen, and I used to sit in there and draw while listening to loads of different albums by artists like Block Party and Kaiser Chiefs, Radiohead, The Smiths, all sorts, really.
Nice. And, so was that something that you were thought you were going to go into, kind of the illustration and drawing side? How did you merge that with music, or did you decide to leave one for another?
I managed to merge it actually a lot with the album cover designs and the promotional material we have.
Yeah, that's cool. So you also went to college, and that is where you met Rebecca. Tell me about the divine link up between you two then.
Well, it actually started over a conversation about a beanie she was wearing. And I had this whole phase of always wearing a beanie. It became my whole characteristic. That's why my Instagram name is Theo in Beanie. And I just complimented her beanie, and then we later talked about like music, and we realized we had a lot in common about wanting to start a band. We realized it was literally the perfect decision was to form a band together, so we did that.
Amazing. How do you go from let's start a band to today's the first day of practice? Like that must be, because I guess you must meet so many people, both of you on your course, that both like music, but to actually meet someone with other things in common and then have that common ground and then put it into practice, it must be a weird space of like actually kickstarting it. What was that first meetup like, with a musical meetup?
It felt like the beginning of something new, I think, because we had these ideas we wanted to try out, and we felt motivated to bring them to the next level, I think.
It was satisfying though, because there's a lot of like times where we tried to start up bands with people and it always fell through, or there was always something that got in the way, but that's why it was so kind of satisfying when it worked, because it's like, oh, hang on, it's actually working. I'm actually making music.
Yeah, for sure. So you then spent 4 months together writing songs and planning a project. What was that process like for both of you, kind of blending in both of your experiences together?
Well, I guess I brought a lot of acoustic demo versions of what became songs on our EP, and then Rebecca would listen to them and then she'd think of like something that could happen with it, and then we'd bring them to a rehearsal, and we'd figure out how we wanted the song to work as a band project, and it just sort of naturally flowed from like a sketch to a full drawing, I guess.
Nice, that's cool. And then taking that to recording, were you also, you know, so far everything sounding really DIY. Was the recording part as well DIY? Were you doing that yourselves, or did you go to a studio and kind of have
literally all ourselves, like just in a bedroom studio the whole time?
We tried to use a studio a few times, but it didn't really work with the sound we wanted. So
we did it ourselves because it's just like finding someone that knows the shoegaze kind of sound was quite difficult. So we just thought, well, we'll just take it into our own hands and kind of figure it out along the way, which we did. So.
And at least you had each other. You didn't have to do it solo, which could be crazy difficult. So you have you just wrapped up that EP?
Yeah, about a month ago now.
Amazing. How does it feel to have the product done and ready for the world?
Really weird, and also I don't know what to like do now, because now the album's done. It's I don't know what to work on. Yeah. So it's a weird gap of like, yeah, it's scary because like everyone being able to just listen to it, but it's also nice seeing all the support and the amount of listens and stuff.
Yeah, of course. What do you want from people that listen to your music? What do you want them to take away from, you know, it's really nice hearing your journey to getting that final product. Obviously, when you just hear the songs, you don't know what the artist has ever gone through to get to that process where we just hear the end result. What do you want people to take away when they listen to your project?
Probably that, well, more particularly that musicians can, like, if you're a musician, you can just do it by yourself pretty much. That you don't need to, like, spend a bunch of money on extremely expensive equipment. You can literally just do it in your bedroom and work with, like, we didn't have a proper drummer or a like proper bassist. We were just working as two people, but we still managed to make a whole band song. So
that's so cool. That's what I say. Yeah, well done. So you are going to both head to Nottingham for uni. That's really, really exciting. Tell me how you, both of you doing different stuff, finding music, going to college, and now heading off to uni. Starting off with you, Theo, taking your music to the next level, going to university. How does that feel for you?
It's really exciting to be able to, because I think if I looked back like a few years ago, if I like time traveled and told myself I was doing what I'm doing now, I'd be really excited because it feels like everything's been leading up to being able to make recordings and then progress to like university, being able to travel, just explore the world, I guess, a little bit.
That's so cool. What about you, Rebecca?
For me, it's the opposite. I've always been so certain of university even before I was into music. So I'm really excited to kind of do, like live by myself and do basic tasks by myself so I can but also just to meet more musicians around, not just Norwich and Nottingham now. Really cool.
Tell me about the name Headgazer. I really like it.
Oh, that was mainly, I just had a list of names and for months I was like crossing out loads and suggesting ideas, and there'd be like disagreements of what the name should be, some ridiculous ones, and Headgazer seemed to be the most neutral one that it started to stick, and I think we thought it kind of represented our kind of personalities musically.
Yeah,
love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find your music then?
You can find it on all streaming services, so Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, just all of them, YouTube, anything.
Incredible.
And you can also find us on social media, because we're always active on there.
Oh, good to know. What we're going to do is we're going to play a couple tracks, and then you're going to stick around, right, for album swap, which I'm excited for, hearing a bit about your inspirations and thoughts. So first up, let's get into a bit of Kylie Minogue with Padam Padam, and then we'll hear back from our guest. Sanjo Joseph with The Social. We have got Headgazer live with us. Are they still here? Give me a woo-woo if you're still here.
Woo.
Oh, they're still here. That delay on the Zoom always gets me. They come together to make Headgazer. Now they're here to talk about being young creatives, which we have done. And yes, I can say they are young and creative. But what they're also here to do is do an album swap with us, and that is the part of the show where we ask the guests to choose an album, maybe something that either inspired them or maybe it's their favourite. And in this case, must be difficult because we asked two people at once to give us an album, a shared one. Tell me about why you went for this album.
Well, I think it was an album that because I hadn't really heard much of Sonic Youth up until the point of hearing it. I'd heard maybe a couple songs, but I didn't really get the whole thing. But then Rebecca sent me one of the songs from the album, and it just grew on me, and then suddenly I got it, and I feel like that album and the band really sort of brought us together creatively, I guess.
Nice. What was it, Rebecca, about the tunes that you wanted to recommend it to Theo?
Well, I think that's when we just started the band, so we were trying to kind of see what we could both emulate for our own music, and it was probably the first band we properly bonded over, and it definitely influenced our music.
Nice. When we're talking influences, are we talking lyrics? Are we talking vibe? Are we talking production?
Probably just a lot of the guitar playing. In particular, it's definitely influenced our guitar composition.
Nice. So we should kick things off then. The first one is Cool Thing. We've got our panel with us. Let's check they're still here and awake as well. Panel, you here?
Hello, yes.
Hello. Okay, great, fantastic. We're all going to have a little listen to the two tracks that you've given us, and we'll see and share our thoughts about them. So we're going to start off with Cool Thing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what it is about this track that made it into your album swap on the show?
Well, it's probably the kind of most well-known track on the album, probably one of their most iconic songs, and it's the first one I'd heard from them, so it's quite special to me.
I really love the guitar playing. I think that's what did it for me.
Hey, nice one. Well, let's get into it. Cool Thing, Sonic Youth, as picked by our guest Headgazer on BBC Radio Suffolk and Norfolk. Before you were making music, Headgazer, I just want to ask, where were you going to get your fix of live gigs?
Another shout out to my dad, actually, for me, because he started taking me to gigs when I was about 14, when I started to show an interest in music, and that basically showed me that I did want to learn how to play guitar and make my own music and be up on stage like the bands we saw were doing.
Any bands you can remember, you can shout out that you saw live?
Bodega, Yak,
Nice.
The Joy Formidable. There's three of them.
Hey, what about you, Rebecca?
Well, my first gig wasn't really until probably first year at college, because I didn't really have the same music tastes as my parents or anything, so they didn't, But I think I saw Hands Off Gretel at the Waterfront. That was the first band I saw.
What a great first band to see. Amazing. Love that. You are here to share your album swap with us. Remind us again, if someone's just tuned in, remind us again about your love for Sonic Youth.
Yeah, well, they're like one of the favourite bands of all time, really.
That inspired the album we created and just the whole development of our band, right from the start, so it's quite important to us.
Oh, love that. Now, so far, we've already heard Cool Thing. We've got another track, last one, Dirty Boots. Tell me a little bit about this track. In my Suffolk accent, I said that one.
Again, I think, for me anyway, again, it's a lot of the guitar playing and the use of different sounds and feedback noises and all the experimentation within the track that draws me in the most.
And also the kind of the alternate guitar tunings, and just it's difficult to play because you have to tune your guitars this really weird tuning. So.
Oh, interesting. Good to know. Let's get into it then. Sonic Youth with... I won't do it my Suffolk accent this time. I'm just going to do it normal. I was about to, but I'm going to take it back. This is Sonic Youth with Dirty Boots as picked by Headgazer. Sounding very good. Now, before you go, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Do you want to tell us one more time where we can find you online?
On Spotify, on YouTube, on all good streaming services.
There we go. And will you be performing live sometime soon?
Hopefully. You'll just have to follow our social media pages to keep updated on that.
There we go.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Hey, all of them. Keep it current. Rebecca and Theo from Headgazers were absolute legends. Thank you so much for coming on and being our young creatives, plural, as well as doing album swap for us. Let's get into some tracks before...